The rain came down in sheets as Mia stood outside the interview building, her soaked blazer clinging to her frame. The cold wind bit into her skin, but it was nothing compared to the storm within her. It was the 5th rejection this month, the 12th since she graduated. Her phone buzzed. A message from her mom. "Keep going, sweetheart. You're stronger than this." Mia stared at the screen, her eyes burning. She had been strong. For months, she had smiled through failures, stood tall through setbacks, and worked tirelessly through sleepless nights. But now she was tired. She looked at her reflection in the glass of a nearby window. Her eyes, once bright and full of dreams, looked dull. Her shoulders sagged under the invisible weight of disappointment. The job she thought she was born to do felt like a distant, fading light. She walked slowly toward the bus stop, passing by a coffee shop she used to visit during her college days. It brought back a memory one late night when she and her best friend Alex sat here, dreaming of the future. "You'll be amazing," Alex had said, his voice full of conviction. "People like you don't quit. You fight. You rise." Back then, it felt so true. She was a girl with a plan, with a spark. But life had its own script. Her father's sudden illness, the burden of bills, juggling jobs to keep food on the table dreams had to take a back seat to survival. And yet, that voice kept echoing in her mind. People like you don't quit. Back home, she opened her laptop, hands trembling. The cursor blinked on a blank email draft addressed to a potential employer she hadn't followed up with. Her finger hovered over the delete key, her chest tightening. But then she remembered something her father once said before he passed. Every step forward, even the tiniest one, counts. You won't see the finish line until you take the next step. Tears welled up in her eyes. She didn't know if this email would lead to anything. She didn't know if it would be rejection number 13 or the miracle she needed, but she pressed send. 2 weeks later, the call came. Not only did they want an interview, but they had reviewed her work samples and were very impressed. Mia could hardly breathe. The same girl who thought of giving up on herself was now sitting across from a panel of professionals who saw value in her journey. And this time, it felt different. They didn't just ask about her experience. They asked about her resilience, her determination, how she managed multiple jobs while learning new skills, how she kept pushing forward when life kept knocking her down. "I guess," Mia said softly, "I just couldn't quit, not when I'd already come this far." A week later, she got the job. 6 months passed. Mia now stood behind a podium at a career workshop for recent graduates. She looked out at the sea of faces, some tired, some hopeful, some quietly battling the same doubts she once did. "I wanted to give up," she said, her voice steady but emotional. "I didn't believe in myself anymore. I thought I'd failed, but I was closer than I knew. And had I quit, I would have never seen a life waiting on the other side of that pain." She paused and scanned the room. You don't know how close you are. Maybe your breakthrough is one email away, one more day of pushing, one more deep breath, one more act of faith. The audience was silent, moved. You're not weak for feeling tired. You're not lost because the road is hard. You're human. But don't quit now. Not yet, because you are closer than you think. Mia's story isn't just hers, it's all of ours. We've all stood in the storm of doubt, wondering if it's worth it, questioning if we're good enough, tired of knocking on doors that never open. But like Mia, our greatest victories often come right after we feel like giving up. The message is clear. Your effort matters. Your pain has purpose. And your journey isn't over just because it's hard. You are growing, becoming, moving,